Hi, good morning, family. It's yet another episode on Everything Legal with Debbie Darlington. I'm glad to have us here again. Okay, so today we're just going to get right into it. So, we're going to talk about marriage, law, marital law, what have you, every law surrounding marriage. Yes, I'll just give you sneak peeks here and there of what law has to do with marriage. Before we start, it is important for us to know that marriage was instituted first from God. Therefore, God is the one that established the first law governing marriage. So, pardon me to also give you Bible quotations in this regard. Bible being the first primary law governing marriage, the Bible in Genesis 2:24 has something to tell us about a man leaving his father and mother and cleaving unto his wife, and they both become one flesh. We also have Matthew 19 verse 5 and Mark 10:7-8. You can also go as far as looking at what Ephesians 5 has to say, what Apostle Paul tells us there. Generally, the Bible doesn't allow for divorce. The institution of marriage has come so that it stays till the end, no matter what happens. That's like the general rule, but there are exceptions, because God is not man, and God also saw that man is wicked and looked at the father. Oh, people can use this to maybe commit crimes, like men beating their wives to death, women committing prostitution and all of those things. Yeah, so many crime can occur in marriage because of the pressure that comes with marriage. Let me put it that way. Yeah, so God, looking at these things, brought an exception to the general rule of no divorce, and says, oh, woman can divorce only on the ground of adultery or sexual immorality. Yes, that's the ground rule, that's the background of law and marriage. Now, coming to our own laws in Nigeria, as well as other countries have their laws too, but I'm also sure that it could tally with what we have here in Nigeria. Marriage is a legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners. It's called matrimony or wedlock. It establishes rights and obligations between the two people who are married, just like every other contract entered into by parties. It is guided by certain laws. We have the Marriage Act and we have the Matrimonial Causes Act. We have types of marriage everywhere, not just Nigeria. We have the customary marriage, which we also call the traditional marriage. We have the statutory marriage, which is we can also call what we call court marriage, marriage that is constituted in marriage registries. Yes, and we have the church marriage. Okay, let me just give a brief example. The marriage, first of all, the customary traditional marriage are the ones we do in our villages, the ones that are guided by our native laws and customs. You see where family will say, oh, go and pay the dowry of this girl, the kingsmen will come, the villagers and all of that. That's a traditional marriage. That's a customary marriage. There are some customary laws that the Islamic law, I think it's only the Islamic law that allows for the man to marry more than one wife. Yes, under their native law and custom. But bigamy, polygamy is not accepted under the Nigerian law. Yes, because there are so many reasons why there are limitations to that. It's only the Islamic law that accepts or allows for those who practice Islam religion to have more than one wife. There are reasons to that. Then the court marriage is one that gives legal backing to marriage's institution. You find out that when you want to divorce or when you want to go maybe travel out of the country or do certain things, you'll be asked to produce a proof of marriage. The proof that they are requiring is the court certificate, not your church certificate or your traditional certificate. Those ones don't give you legal backing. The one that give you legal backing is the court marriage. So it is advised that we always take or partake in court marriage whenever we want to get married. Okay, the celebration of marriage. There are laws that guide the celebration of marriage in Nigeria. The Marriage Act provides that the following must take place for it to be recognized as a valid marriage. The marriage must take place in a registered place of worship and must be conducted by a licensed minister or in the office of the registrar in courts. Not all churches or mosques are licensed to partake in the celebration of marriage. So your church may not be licensed to have celebration of marriage take place in their church. So if you happen to have a church like that, it is preferably advised for you to also take a further step to go to court registry to ensure that your marriage is legalized. So it must be done with open doors. Marriage celebration must be open. We must have witnesses. People must come to witness the celebration of love, and pictures taken. For record purposes for the future. Then it must be done within the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Not midnight. Are you hiding? Looking at the fact that it must be in open doors, you should understand that it's not something that should be done midnight. There must be at least 2 witnesses besides your officiating minister. You must have. That's why people have preferably choice of marriage, the way they conduct their marriage. Some people can just want to be in the beach with just maybe like 10 people. That's legalized. So far as you have more than 2 witnesses to witness your marriage, that's a legalized thing. The marriage certificate is issued to the parties after the marriage has been contracted. That marriage certificate is your agreement, it's your contract agreement to show that me and you are in this thing together. We cannot wake up one morning and say, I'm tired, you're stressing me, I'm sick, I'm this and I want to leave. No, there are steps and requirements for you to leave. You cannot just leave. It's an offense for you to just leave. If you just leave, there are precautions that will be taken. You can be charged to court, you can be made to pay damages to the woman or man that you left, your children. So many things are involved, so many things are at stake, and the law protects the other party that is being affected when you don't do things in due process to ensure that both parties are okay or at rest with the decision that you are making. Then the certificates must be signed by the parties and the witnesses. This every agreement, every contract you enter into has to be signed for it to be executed. Yes, that's the execution part of the agreement. That is why we call it a contract between 2 people. Marriage to a person. There are some offenses. I'm going to set out some offenses, like I stated here, that occur in marriage. So that makes a marriage void. Let me state it out to you. So when you marry a person with the knowledge that that person, the other person, is married to another person, a person who commits this offense is liable to 5 years imprisonment. If I'm getting married and I know I'm already married and I do not inform my partner that I'm married elsewhere, I'm going to be liable for 5 years imprisonment when he later comes out. Where a person makes a false declaration in a statement which the law requires for the purpose of marriage. If I give a false declaration, maybe I know that I'm not able to bear a child and I didn't inform my partner before we get married, and he finds out in the marriage, I've married under false pretense, I'm liable to 5 years imprisonment as well. Where someone stands in as a witness knowing that he is not qualified to do so, he will be liable for 5 years imprisonment. Where you don't want your parents to see that you're marrying this kind of person, you're not going to hire somebody to act as your parent or as your witness. The people you hired will be liable for 5 years imprisonment. A person who has full knowledge that the marriage being contracted is one which is not valid but still goes ahead to contract it is liable to 5 years imprisonment. You know that this marriage you're about to enter is not valid. Maybe you're marrying a minor or somebody who is insane, somebody who cannot give consent to that marriage, and you are going into the marriage regardless. You are liable for 5 years imprisonment. Marriage Act recognizes foreign marriages that are contracted outside of Nigeria. I can marry a white man, an American. I can marry a Portuguese. I can marry an Ivorian. I can marry from any country I want to. Yes, Nigeria recognizes such acts. Those people can also come and marry us here. So far as you go to where love finds you, where you can stay in peace, in harmony for the rest of your lives, the law protects you. Okay. An intending couple must ensure and endeavor to take the right steps when it comes to contracting a marriage, so you don't fall into the trap of voidable or illegal marriage. You ensure that you follow due process. That's why you don't just enter marriage. Please ask questions. Consult your lawyer, consult the Bible, consult people who have even married. Yes, from experience. They will tell you how they went about it. It's not complex. It's very simple to ensure that you do the right thing so that you can enjoy your marriage peacefully. I'm going to read out some sections of the Marriage Act that you need to have at the tip of your finger as a Nigerian. Section 33 of the Marriage Act says that no marriage in Nigeria will be valid where either of the parties thereto at the time of celebration of such marriage is married under customary law to any other person with whom such marriage is had. I've married under my traditional, they've married me in the village before, and I went to the city and I saw another man that liked me, that has money. The man has said, okay, well, let's marry. I did not tell that man that I have husband in the village. My dear, like I said earlier, I am liable to 5 years imprisonment. I have to let him know that I am married, and before I can marry him again, I have to undergo the due process of law, being divorced. And I cannot just wake up and say I want to divorce. There are certain rules that guide divorce proceedings as well. So if I don't do this, my marriage to the second person will not be valid. Section 34 of the Marriage Act also states that all marriages celebrated under the Act shall be good and valid in law to all intents and purposes. Every marriage in this Nigeria, as the case may be, is valid. Customary, court marriage, traditional marriage, it is valid so far as you follow due process of law. Section 46 says of Marriage Act says marrying a second wife while the first marriage subsists is a criminal act, and such person is liable to 5 years imprisonment. And by virtue of Section 46 of the Marriage Act, 7 years imprisonment for someone who marries a second wife while the first marriage is subsisting is an offense under Section 370 of the Criminal Code. So it is a crime for you to be married and then go and marry a second wife without properly divorcing this one. Even the Bible condemns it in the sense that you are committing an adultery. Let me put it that way. You're committing an adultery, and the woman you are even living, you're also making her an adulteress. Yes, there's a part in the Bible that says that. So please let us be careful in our decisions. There are grounds for marriage, grounds that make a marriage void. In the case where the man is impotent and did not reveal to the partner that he is impotent before they marry, that could be a ground. In the case where there is a forced consent, the person is married forcefully, yes, and you do not get adequate consent either from the parents or from the courts, as the case may be, such marriage can be void. When you marry somebody who is not of sound mind, who is mentally ill, or a person who is not unfit, or underage marriage, that marriage is void. Okay, a couple can be separated before divorce in Nigeria. By the time you are able to, you've taken the decision because of whatever reason. From my video now, I would like to advise that the major reasons should actually be sexual immorality for you to be able to say, oh, I can't continue with this. And domestic violence as well, yes, because our lives are important. By the time you want to go ahead with this divorce, you have to ensure that you've been separated from this person for at least a period of 2 years. How to get a divorce in Nigeria? First of all, you consult a lawyer. That's the first thing to do. Consult a lawyer, a divorce lawyer, someone who is an expert in that area. Then you ensure that you have your ground for divorce, right? Being that, okay, you have not been with this person for 2 years, you've been separated. 2, the person probably got married to you under false pretense. You are just finding out now that the person is impotent, or the person is barren, and then you cannot have a child, or the person is not all right upstairs. Those are grounds. You are finding out, or you were pressurized to marry, you didn't give consent to marry as at the time when you married. That's a ground as well. Then you file a petition, then hearing of the petition in court, then the court will give judgment, decree, and a divorce certificate. Until you get your divorce certificate, you are still married to that person. I want to plead with us. Let us try to ensure that everything we do should be in accordance to the law of God and the law of man. Yes, so that you would not jeopardize the lives of your children or people who depend on you. Marriage is an institution. You don't just go to school one day and then wake up in your 200 level and say, oh, I'm stopping school. No. There are certain processes. You have to also think of the money you've paid into it, the experience, whatever. You also have to look at the future. Do you understand? Marriage, it may not be rosy at the beginning of a marriage, but by the time both of you bond and keep going, you're able to understand each other. You're able to go through the obstacles by prayer, by understanding. Spend 10 years, 12, 20 years, you find out that you can cope. Yes, you can bring about a lot of experiences that both of you can share together. It's not all love. There are a lot of things that are involved in marriage that we have to explore and look into. Do not let the devil have his way into the life of your marriage. Please, let us try everything possible to make sure that you follow the due process, you marry the right person, you stay with the right person, and don't look elsewhere, because the devil is better than the angel that you are just meeting today. Please, when there are experiences. I've been married for 3 years now, and it's not easy. It has not been easy, yes, but the church girl in me, you understand, and the love that is also there, because for me to have married my husband, I really loved him, and he loves me to let me put it, because it's a continuous thing. But it's not that love that has been keeping us. Other things. God is number one factor. The fact that whenever we are angry with each other, we remember there's something that I saw in you that made me to go ahead. That thing also keeps us. By the time you remember the good parts, the good things, but in your own individual corner, you are the one that will make your marriage work. You as a person have to agree in yourself, your spirit self, that, oh, I want to make my marriage work. Then whatever it is that comes up, whatever obstacle that comes up, you are able to fight it. But by the time your mind is away from that marriage, there's nothing that can make it work. By the time you agree within yourself that you can make it work, then the two of you can work together to make things work. Thank you for listening today. Please drop your comments, ask me questions, give me your opinions on what you think. I'm grateful to also share this episode with you. Please also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us spread the news to the world so everybody can hear and learn from these little episodes, little nuggets that I share with us. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye.